Hi YouTube, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. You can find us on the web, caltoncutlery.com. I was just going to put the camera away, and then I thought, you know what, I'm going to do one more. I'd got a couple of razors out to look for things to show. And this particular one right here, it was an eBay special. I believe it's an old Sheffield razor. I think that's all it says is Sheffield. But anyways, this particular razor shows off dulling through corrosion extremely well. In different sections of this razor, it's got quite a bit of pitting in the blade finish. And if you look at the very edge, you'll see quite a bit of corrosion along the edge, and it really shows off corrosion real well. So I wanted to show that to you right quick. You know, most of the time you can say that edges dull through damage, you know, cutting staples, you know, hitting bone, getting dropped on the floor, you know, whatever. So that would be like a mechanically damaged edge. And there it'll either get impacted or chipped out, or the edge will roll over, things of that nature. The second way edges dull is typically through wear, where you just use that edge and the material just gets worn away from the material that you're cutting. So a good example of that is steel on rope. So if you're doing rope cutting tests, you know, that rope is very abrasive, and it will act kind of like a very, very fine grit sandpaper, and it will abrade your edge away until it's dull and it won't cut anymore. The third way the edge is dull is through corrosion, and that's something that's it happens a lot more than you might think it does. And you can't really tell. If you've ever had a knife that you sharpened up, let's say your hunting knife, you finished out that hunting season, you cleaned your knife up, sharpened it, put it in the sheath, put it away, and then the next season you pull it out and it's not sharp anymore. This can be a manner in which a knife can go dull just sitting around not doing anything. So we have got, and this is a pretty thin razor, so our edge bevels are only that big. Now granted, in real life they're, you know, that big, maybe 10/1000ths of an inch wide or so, but this really shows off. Oh, this is cool. You can see everything. These little bitty circles right here, those are pits caused by moisture that was left on the blade edge. And this part right here, okay, so you have this pit right here on this, or let's go this pit right here. You can kind of see up in the corner there where it's traveling. Maybe you might be able to catch just a hint of a little semicircle up here to the top and left of this circle. So what'll happen is that you'll have a spot of corrosion on this side of the blade, and then you'll have another spot of corrosion on the opposite side of the blade, and then when those two spots meet up, you end up getting a big old gaping hole. Or you'll create a weak spot, so that in this case a razor, you'll have a weak spot right there where the steel is much thinner than the rest of the edge. And then let's say you hit a hard whisker, or one that's you know, not nice and wet and soft while you're you know, didn't have enough lather on it. You hit that hard whisker and then bam, big old chunk of that edge will just pop right out. And the steel on either side of it might be okay because it hasn't been weakened by those little spots of corrosion. This was the big thing that I saw underneath that other microscope that led me to the purchase of this one, was being able to see stuff like this, and not only me being able to see it, but being able to mount a razor or a blade in a fixture, put it underneath the scope, and then blow it up like this so that I can explain how that can work, or even just show it, say, hey, this is what happens, and as soon as you see it, that's what was going on with that particular blade. You can see this is also, this might have been, just a water droplet that fell on this blade and didn't get dried off completely before it was stored, because there's an awful lot of pitting up in here, real deep pitting, that may or may not hone out. In this case, if this razor was something that you wanted to keep using, you'd either have to quit using it because you'd have to take that much metal off, or you'd have to reshape the whole, cut off that much steel to get down below it, or just remember that there's a bad area in that blade. I think this one's about 2/3 of the way from the toe down, and not do any detail work with that section of the blade. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this lovely picture of corrosion on this old razor, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And I will try to think up of some more stuff to show off with the new scope as it relates to sharpening, and then make a list and then start going through the videos. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next time.